this video so that you can have a better understanding of the course critique checklist I did for problem 3. So let's begin. Mr. Gervin spends about 15 minutes on problem 3. However, my purpose here is to just identify the instructional events that I referenced in my critique. And so the video is somewhat trimmed, but it is available in its entirety here on the wiki, and if you just go to YouTube. And problem 3 starts at 17 minutes 48 seconds.
All right, let's look at some other examples of formulas and formula inputs. Price of the car, down payment, and we need to calculate loan amount. Well, we just need to do subtraction. Equals, up arrow, minus up arrow, and then hit enter. So there's our loan amount. There's our loan amount. Okay, annual interest rate, monthly interest rate. Well, we just did this one up here, so equals, up arrow divided by 12. Again, that can change, so we're referring it in our formula using a cell reference. That can't, no problem, type it in. Enter, enter. Before we can calculate our monthly payment, we need to know total months. We actually are going to have 3 inputs into this PMT function. Total months, well, wait a second, 5 years? How many months? Oh, equals that right there, up arrow, times 12. We're here in our monthly payment. Oh, I don't know the annuity formula by heart. So I'm going to come up here. That's the type of finance function we would use here. I'm going to come up here and type monthly loan payment. Month or something like that. Click go. Sure enough, we read through all of these and find the one that we want. The search seems to be working because PMT says calculates the payment for a loan based on constant payments. That's what we have, constant monthly payments, and a constant interest rate. Yes, when you sign, you'll probably be using this if you were doing finance, but no problem. There's some help down here. For each one of these, as we tab forward, we can see that it changes. I'm going to, by the way, what goes backwards? I could use my cursor. Shift tab goes backwards. Shift tab. So rate is the interest rate per period. For example, use 6% divided by 4 for quarterly payments at 6% APR. Well, are we going to use our 4.8 or, actually let me do this. Are we going to use our 4.8 or our monthly rate? I'm going to use my monthly rate. One thing about the financial functions is the period has to be the same for all of the inputs. All right, NPER, this is the total number of payments for the loan, right there. Notice this was in months, monthly rate, this is total months. And then PV, this is a, if you read this down here and you don't know finance, you're like, oh man, I have no idea what present value means. Well, if you go out and take a loan, on the day you get the loan, what is the present value of it? What is the value of that loan today? Oh, the loan amount. So I'm going to very carefully scroll over here, and with my cursor right there, I'm going to click. All right, you can see your formula emerging in the cell. You can see your formula emerging up in the formula bar. You can see your inputs here. These are all cell references because all these numbers can change. You can see a preview and a preview here. Now, in a finance class, we'd use these other arguments, but we don't need to use them here. One cool hint about the functions argument dialog box, the ones in bold are the required ones that people use most often. If they're not in bold, that means, hey, you can leave those off and they're the arguments that are not as used as frequently as these. So for us, we have our inputs, we click OK. Now in finance, finance functions like PMT, if I hit F2 here, that PMT knows cash flow. So guess what? It comes up with these parentheses, which parentheses in accounting means negative. The reason it comes up negative is because it knows That money's coming out of your wallet. Now, what is this parentheses? We haven't seen this before. This is not a parentheses typed into a cell. It is coming from something called number formatting. And we talked about this in Project 1 a little bit. But let's look at it more closely here. With this cell selected, I need to format the cells. And in this class we're going to do formatting cells all the time. And we're going to use the keyboard shortcut to open the Format Cells dialog box. Control 1. Control 1. Here it is, Format Cells. On the Number tab, we can see Currency. Now, if I click on this General, all of these have some sort of formatting applied. But if I click on General, watch what happens to our sample here. Watch what happens. Well, you can't see it in the cell, so I'm going to click OK. But General wipes away all of that formatting, whatever it may be. In our case, it was currency. I just want to take a look here. Now notice there's lots of unrounded decimals here. I do want to apply it currency, and now I want to go 2 decimals fine, symbol absolutely perfect, but now I don't want, we had this one before, now I want to click here and we can see our sample. It doesn't officially round it to 0.72, but it makes it look like it on the surface of our spreadsheet. Alright, one last formula here. So far these are all calculating formulas. All of these are calculating a number answer. Now we want to do our second text formula. Now notice it says merge and center up here. Merge and center. One last formula. I want to create another text formula, and I want a label up here that's going to say the monthly payment is, and then show the number. But remember, this number down here can change. If all of a sudden I say, man, I can afford $465, so I'm going to change the price of the car to $50,000. Now watch what happens here. Actually, this will change and this will change. All right. I want our label up here also to change. So if I have a different monthly payment depending on our formula inputs, I want it to change also. Control Z. Click right here. All right. What symbol starts every formula? Equal sign. Now we need to put some words in our formula. The monthly payment is. So in double quotes, just like we saw over on this ampersand sheet, Now, notice I started off with double quotes and typed a bunch of text. Now, when you're first learning how to do text formulas like this, you know, and I remember doing it, I would always close it off immediately, but you gotta think that means there'll be no space. So I'm going to backspace, type a space, and then do end double quote. All right, so that's one thing we're putting into the formula, but we need to join it. So what do we use? Shift 7. And I want to join it with this. Now before I hit enter, I want to let you know that formulas never look at formatting. And we'll see a lot in this class as we move forward that formulas, you can get in big trouble sometimes when you think that the formula will look at formatting. I'm going to hit enter. Oh, there it is. As soon as you do a formula, it's always going to use the underlying number. Now just a moment ago when I clicked here, Control 1, Number tab, General, you could see that that's the actual number that sits in the cell. When we go currency, boom, 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 it's just the surface of the spreadsheet is being changed so that we visually see it, but that number is still under there. That's why when we create this formula right here, point to B9, it's looking at the number underneath. No problem. I'm going to hit F2, and guess what? There is a function that it specifically is designed to take a number that has lots of unrounded decimals, put it into a text formula, and format it like currency. And guess what? It's called the dollar function. Now we need to edit this. There is one item and a second item. The ampersand is joining them. We just need to put that cell reference inside the dollar function. So I'm going to click right there and type dollar. Now, in 2007 and 10, awesome new feature, this drop down. As soon as you start typing, it looks through this list, and it depending on what letters are here, it gives you a little drop down. As soon as you see the one you want, you can just hit tab or double click it. So tab, it puts in the name and the parentheses. I'm going to come to the end. The number, that's called an argument. That's just that B9. And then we could type a comma. And it says, how many decimals do you run around to? Well, what do we want? 1, 2. Well, the default, and if you go up and click insert function and then the little blue help, you can read the default is 2. See that square brackets there? Anytime you see a square brackets in a screen tip, it means you can leave that argument off and it will assume the default. So we actually can backspace and just leave it out. All right, and there it is. That formula right there is joining two things. We just had to take that one thing, the B9, the unrounded number, and put $. So I'm going to hit enter. Absolutely beautiful. Now, remember just a moment ago we had currency down here and it was using these parentheses. I don't want it showing up like that, so I'm going to click here and hit F2 to edit, and I'm going to put my cursor right there and type a minus. What's a minus of a minus? A positive. So I hit enter. Now up here I want it to be positive. Down here I definitely want it to be negative because this is telling us the cash flow. Oh man. Coming out of our pocket or a wallet or a purse. Alright, now let's change it and see the magic of Excel. The interest rate is no longer 4.8, it's 6.75. As soon as I hit enter, that will change, this will change, and this will change. I hit enter, 488.13. Alright. Do this homework problem here. Here's the instructions, and there's an answer right here for you. But be sure and do this on your own and know how to do it, because these kind of things could be on the test. Alright, we'll see you next video.